pair bonding has been a very popular topic on my channel. Not because I'm obsessed with the topic, although I do enjoy researching it. It's important, very important when we're considering having healthy relationships, whether those are casual or something more. And so, yeah, I do read quite a bit about that in studies and things that pertain to pair bonding, but it's really demand of you guys, my subscribers, which reminds me, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get on my email list. Okay, we got that out of the way, but you guys, my subscribers, some of you guys very loyal on my channel and supporting me. I appreciate that. And in consultations too, I do with guys and women too. A lot of consultations I do with women, this becomes a topic of a discussion. And it's not because I'm necessarily bringing it up. It's something that people are very interested in. And really, y'all should be. If you're vetting out a potential partner for something more than just casual sex, if you're a woman listening and you're interested in having a partner that is beyond casual sex, then you need to be greatly interested in pair bonding and having that ability. I've done several videos on it. You can do search and just start going backwards and figuring it out. Someday I'll get my crap together, put them in playlists, but you guys can do a little effort and you'll find some good videos and discussions on it. Also, get in the comments too if you have questions, things. I do respond to your guys' comments as much as I can. And that said, this is just such an important topic, and you should be interested in that, because if you want something more than casual sex, there's a chemical, neurological brain component to it. There's a evolutionary component to it. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we're working against our nature. We don't want to have to fight against our natural drives perpetually all the time, because that's going to lead to perpetual unhappiness. What we want to do is steer those natural drives towards having what we want in life and being happy, right? And steer those drives into a productive direction so we can have those things. We steer those drives in the wrong direction or react or respond to those drives in the wrong way, we'll find ourselves hindering our ability to have that long-term happiness. Here's a great example: recreational drugs. If you go overboard with recreational drugs, especially become an addict, especially getting into the hard stuff, what are you doing? You're damaging your neurochemicals inside of your body, those chemical receptors, and that's going to hinder your ability to have emotional regulation and happiness and things of that nature long term. It affects your brain health. It affects your productivity. It affects you from achieving what you want. A heroin addict isn't out there going out and being successful, usually, right? With very few statistical small examples, usually musicians who got very lucky, okay? And then a lot of times they die from their addiction. So point is, we have to steer our drives into productive directions. And this has to do with our sexual decisions as well. Women should be more interested in this than men. Unfortunately, women today are busy trying to present the idea that they're the, what I call, good chimpanzee, right? That they're good, they're the good person, even though they made a bunch of bad decisions. And so instead of just looking at this and trying to look towards their long-term success, they're reacting, as women do, emotionally to their environment, and it's hindering that ability. Not all women, but a lot of women. And this is a good video to send to women, okay? Send to women in your life. No, you're not going to red pill women, okay? But it's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make a woman understand a bunch of concepts that in the way that you understand it as a man, or even vice versa, okay, for women that are understanding things on their own level. That's not necessarily what we're trying to do. But we're trying to come with an understanding of each other, if we're talking about male and female dynamics, so that we can have complementary relationships. And this video may help some women understand that, particularly you guys with daughters. okay? Guys, some of you guys are trying to raise young girls. You don't want them on the promiscuity carousel, we'll call it, okay? Doing that, what society is telling them to do in their early years, they're playing Russian roulette with their ability to pair bond. They could come out with an ability to meet somebody and have a productive, healthy relationship later, or chances are, statistically speaking, they don't come out that way and they struggle with their relationships for the rest of their lives. We don't want that. You don't want that for your daughters. Women listening, you don't want that for your daughters either, and you don't want that for yourselves. So this is a good, I'm going to read this. This is from a woman, and I thought it was very good, and this will give you an understanding of this stuff a little bit. This is from her perspective on the issue of pair bonding and promiscuity. So this is, I'll link it. This is from a Reddit thing. I caught it when I was doing my research and just got curious and read it, but I thought it was very good. She writes, "Hi, everyone. I posted here for the first time last week, and I wanted to thank everyone who commented for their insightful and constructive advice. I loved how honest you ladies were with me." All right, so this is like a female red pill form or something like that. A lot of dumb comments, by the way, below this, but this one was pretty good. Anyway, I was prompted to write this post after watching Lauren Southern's What Every Girl Needs to Hear video. Go watch it if you haven't already. I actually haven't already, so I'll probably go watch that after I do this video. She discussed how promiscuity has a detrimental effect on a woman's ability to pair bond with a partner. Okay. All right, so Lauren Southern's video, I know of her name. The researchers, there isn't much of a debate on this issue when we're looking at it in terms of research. The only people who debate this are your modern feminists and women who don't want to be slut-shamed. All right. They want women who want to ride the promiscuity carousel and then settle down. They want to have it all, and they don't want to admit that their behavior has consequences. And that's a large amount of women. All right. That's who argue against this. There are men that argue against this too. Usually they're just trying to get laid by that large majority of women. So whether they are saying so or not, that's the internal drive. So there's a lot of BS out there, but in the scientific community, there really isn't. When it comes to these topics, your behavior has consequences, in other words. And if anyone is telling you, well, your behavior really doesn't have consequences, they're probably lying to you. That's a pretty good indicator of someone not telling you the truth. Anyway, I'll continue with her, what she wrote. To all my fellow college red pill women out here, she's a college age girl. Wonder what she looks like. She's probably maybe good potential LTR partner. Please don't let anyone convince you that you are missing out by not riding the CC. So CC is a slang for what I'm calling the promiscuity carousel. I'm not going to say what it actually is because it might get censored by YouTube, what the other C stands for, but basically riding a bunch of dudes. Okay, that's what it means. Hopping from dude to dude. So that's what CC means. So please don't let anyone convince you you're missing out by not riding the CC. Maybe you are like one of my best friends who has been in a committed relationship with a great guy for a few years. But you see your friends going out and meeting new guys every weekend and wonder if you should be doing that too. I'm going to pause and iterate as I read this. What is that? So this is good. You guys need to listen to women, all right? Not listen to women like, do what women tell me. No, just listen to what they say so you can understand Womanies, okay? So what is that? What is that? That's women are very influenced by their social environment. If all their friends are on the CC or the promiscuity carousel, and this chick who she's explaining is in a relationship, she's going to feel pressured to want to be on that carousel because all these women are not going to tell them about the damage that they're doing to themselves long term or about the negative aspects of that, which there are some, but unfortunately, most of those negative aspects are delayed. They're just out there getting drunk, getting high, and feeling good on other dudes' dongs, right? And so they're going to brag about that, talk about how good it is, or the fun time they had, or how hilarious this was, or how bad this was. It's just going to be a series of stories, and making up for missing out is a big, powerful thing for women because of how they're genetically driven. So she's in a relationship. She's in a great relationship, according to this person who wrote this. She's now feeling that pressure because of what her friends are doing. So see how women work a little differently than maybe you do as a guy. All right. It bothered her so much. Oh, yeah. Because that's what modern society dictates college age women should be doing. You see, back to that social pressure. It bothered her so much that she considered asking her boyfriend to open the relationship, even though they've been talking about marriage. That's how brainwashed our generation has become. As someone whose notch count is in the 20s, I told her point blank, it's not worth it. And I will mention the 20s is probably the lower end of the notch count number by the time a woman hits 30. So she's in college age. So she's probably 21, 22. She's banged 20 guys. That's normal. This girl who wrote this is not some hoe. Okay. This girl who wrote this, she would have been a hoe 50 years ago. Shit, maybe even 25 years ago, 20 years ago. This girl who wrote this is not some hoe now. This girl who wrote this is your normal average girl in the West now. Having gone through 25 dongs, she's put 25 Ds inside of her body, and she's probably 21, 22 years old based on this message because she's college age, right? That is normal. So it's not to shame her. She's normal. Unfortunately, she's normal. The research is showing that their ability to pair bond is severely compromised after I think they cut the study off at like 13 or something like that. The one study, there's several that have been done. The studies don't even go as high as 20. And that's normal. I promise you. Because if you're out there and you're talking to women who are in their 20s, you know that that's normal. Anyway, I mentioned in my last post that I have bipolar and I'm hypersexual when I'm manic. This resulted in my count going from 1 to 20 in a matter of 6 months. Although these were hookups. Not to criticize the writer, because I think that what she wrote was great, but you can see the rationalization there. So this, again, I'm helping you guys with your womanies here. All right. So a woman can't be a bad chimp. So the fact that she racked up a notch of 20 people wasn't because she was cock hungry and she was horny and she was making bad decisions. It was because she was bipolar, right? That's fine. Whatever she's got to say. I'm going to say that doesn't matter. 20 in 6 months, she just went through a hoe phase. That's rather normal for girls now. That hitting 20 in 6 to 8 months, that's a normal hoe phase for girls, dude. So I'm not shaming her for it. I'm just saying the bipolar thing is totally incidental, to be honest. That's her excuse for it or her rationalization. That's what she needs to tell herself, whatever. But that really doesn't matter, in my opinion. What it is, it's actually a hindbrain drive towards promiscuity that's being stimulated because we're stimulating our polyamorous short-term mating strategy again with technology and the way our society is. The global sexual marketplace now stimulates a polyamorous promiscuous strategy. That's what it stimulates. Now, before, in a small hunter-gatherer tribe, she might only have sleep with 3 to 5 or 6 in the tribe that are mateable before she's dead by the age of 30, because she's not on the internet. She's not in a big city. She's in a nomadic tribe 100,000 years ago. But the drive would have been the same, to just have sex as often as possible with as many mateable dudes as you could. Well, that drive gets executed in a place where you have a lot higher population, a lot more freedoms, free access to resources and technology, and of course, a society that supports you to do whatever you want. I mean, 20 in 6 months is nothing. That's like rookie numbers for some of these girls. And a lot of you guys know that. So no, I'm not shaming her, but I just wanted you to notice that there's always a rationalization. that women like to do because they don't want to be that bad chimp. And that's okay. If she's got to do that, that's her. That's fine. All right. So then she says, 9 out of 10 guys who want to hook up with you do not care about you at all. You are just a plate to them, no matter how nice they seem to be. This is true, though, right? I mean, this is true. The best case, that's the best case scenario. There are also men out there who can seriously hurt you. I was raped by one last year. That just goes to show the kind of people you can come across when you venture into the world of meaningless sex. They have no regards for your feelings or, in some cases, your personal safety. Given my high notch count, I feel that sex isn't as special to me anymore. I have to actively try to feel the connection with my partner, when previously it came naturally and effortlessly. I can still feel it, but it doesn't feel as strong as it did before. Also, I can't help comparing my current partner to all of the partners I've had in the past. It keeps me from truly enjoying everything he has to offer. So I read that and I enunciated my words and didn't interrupt myself, because that's really important. Okay. So that is what a girl goes through when she goes through a bunch of notches. The feelings she had when she was having that first love are not the feelings she's going to have for you when you become just a casual sex partner for her, 15 years later. When you're finally banging her or come across her as an option, she's 25, 26, 30, 35, who knows, right? Whatever her age is. Her emotions and her feelings of bonding are nowhere near what it was for the first loser she's decided to throw inside of her body, or the first alpha crush she had in high school or whatever, who made her feel really good because of his SMV, but then kicked her to the curb because he was, banging her friends and everything else. I mean, it's that you meet her, got nothing compared to that. And that's what she's explaining here. And that's very true, guys. That's true. Now, that's the negative side. Here's the other side of it, though. All right. This just means that it takes a lot more nowadays to put a girl in your frame and to create a peak experience for her. And I'll tell you what, when you do that, it's very rewarding. Some of you guys are lazy and some of you guys are crybabies, and you're going to sit back and go, why should I put in the effort? Okay, it's because if you want anything in life, you put in effort. That's why you put in the effort. It's just the way it goes. And this is the reality of where we're in. The reality is, even this girl who is probably a really good match for somebody, to be honest, for her to write this and her to own this and to work on this, she has a chance of being successful, unlike most of these women out there who don't. So I have a lot of respect for what she wrote, and I'm not trying to, shame her for anything, but the limitation is definitely there. There's a limitation now, a limitation she put on herself because of allowing those experiences to happen and having those past experiences. Comparing her current partner to every other past partner, that is par for the course. She's not special here. That's what every woman does. The difference is, back in the day, she might only be comparing you to a couple guys. Now, she can't even remember what her notch count number is. She can't, she'd have to literally go through it all to figure out how many exactly to even know, right? Now, so that's normal. Comparing you to dudes in the past, they all do that. Don't forget that. So you're wondering about the alpha widow situation. There will come a time where she will compare you to every guy she's ever had sex with. Now, she needs to see you as better than all those guys, not just in the current, but in the future too. That's how it is. She needs to, without hesitation, see you as better. If there's any hesitation at all, that's going to lead to that pair bonding feeling and those neurochemicals to erode or go away. Okay. Because of her hypergamous brain, she'll think that there's something better out there than you. And that won't work for her. Not genetically, not on a primal level. So even if she tries to sell herself short and all that stuff, that won't work. Guys don't care about these girls. Most guys aren't even a compassionate alpha, right? Most guys aren't even alpha. They're just banging her and they don't care. They don't care if she's drunk. They don't care whatever. Being raped in that scenario is pretty common. It's not necessarily not to get all dudes are rapists, you know. No, it's not that. It's just that she's putting herself in a situation with a bunch of dudes who don't care about her. They're high, drunk, whatever. She's high, drunk, whatever. You know, she's waking up next to a guy, barely remembering what happened, not feeling so well the next day, and his liquids dripping out of her body, right? That's what happens. Maybe his liquids and his friends too. Who knows? While she was taking a nap. I mean, hey man, this is what life is like now. This is what reality is. And so when these girls, they think they're invincible and they go out there and they make these decisions because all young 20-somethings don't have to be responsible for themselves and they're all impervious to any potential harm. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Takes one bad experience to prove that wrong. Anyway, continue with what she wrote here. Don't sabotage your ability to pair bond so you can fit in with your blue pill friends. Sex is very important to men and women too. For most men, it's how they feel most connected with their partner. Like men, I also primarily prefer giving and receiving love through physical intimacy. And now I feel like my ability to receive has been compromised. Trust me, you don't want to be in my shoes. I know it's highly unlikely for a woman in this day and age to save herself until marriage or have a notch count of 1 unless it is in the context of a religious upbringing, but at least try to limit your sexual encounters to men you're in committed relationships with. It's not just because of retaining your ability to pair bond or keeping your, she says RMV. I think that's the same as sexual market value. I'm not big on the internet speak. RMV high, but simply put, sex is better with someone you love and who loves you. My fellow red pill women, don't sell yourself short. Well, anyway, that is good. And some of the comments afterwards are decent. Some of them are really stupid. And it's a bunch of, well, people just trying to justify riding the promiscuity carousel. That's what that is. Keep justifying it. That's fine. Keep it up. Keep it up and keep having crappy relationships, destroying yourselves, destroying men. That's what these women like to do to themselves as they continue to deny the truth out there about the sexual marketplace, about promiscuity, about what notch count does to pair bonding. But those that don't ignore it, or at least those that get lucky, still will retain that ability. Now, so what's silver lining here? So if I were advising her, I don't know who she is. I don't know if she'll ever see my channel. But if I were advising her, I'd tell her not to give up. Yes, she created hurdles for herself. But I think, well, I don't just think this, I know this, that when you have a guy that can create several peak experiences for you, a guy that is very alpha, a guy that can over time just continue to generate those emotions, what'll happen is those emotions will actually grow rather than diminish even after the so-called honeymoon phase. And it'll be at a point where you're having peak experience sex with this one person and you'll crave it, you'll desire it, and those other experiences won't matter. Now, in order for a man to do that, guys that are listening, of course, listen up. You have to be able to create peak experiences over time and have several experiences that it's not every sexual encounter. You're going to have some quickies and some tired morning sex and right stuff that just happens. That's normal. Right. But I mean, being able to create peak sexual experiences that completely destroy and take her to any other experience she's had. It destroys those experiences because it takes her to a level of intensity and desire that she's never experienced before. And no matter what it is she's done in her past, your experiences you have with her, they have to really be so much more intense and so much more fulfilling at the end of those experiences. But it's not just fulfilling though, because see, that's the comfort side of it. She can love you and think you're great and trust you. But if that intensity isn't there, that sexual intensity, that sexual desire isn't there, above and beyond everything else she's ever done with anybody else, then the pair bonding is compromised. Her hypergamous mind will always ask questions. She will always question whether you're her sexual best, and you can't have a successful long-term relationship for the long haul when that's the case. So for her, this person who wrote this, I would advise to be patient, find that guy who is very alpha and more attractive to you than any of your previous guys that you have high desire for, and then let those experiences build over time. A girl like this, just like every girl, is going to go through the Rolodex of every guy she's ever had sex with in her mind in the beginning, and even particularly she'll do that after the honeymoon phase. She will go through that. She will look at those experiences, think about the time when she had sex with this person or that person, and she'll compare it to the experiences she's having with you. That takes time to do. It's not like she sits down and writes down a list. This is just what happens. Things crop up. Thoughts crop up. Desires happen. And if you're me, you're going to overwhelm her with peak experiences right away, which is what I recommend. That when you overwhelm her sexually almost, where it's high intensity, high desire right away, that sets up the conditions for her to very easily not care or think about her past. It's like her past doesn't matter. Didn't happen. If it happened or didn't happen, it wouldn't make a difference to her because of how intense the experiences are with you, right? And so that is what I recommend. And unfortunately, though, a girl in this position has an uphill battle. Girls think they can just have everything, and you can't. That really narrows your choices. If a girl in this spot has her choices narrowed now, she can't just meet that nice guy, have great sex with this good guy who makes good money and raise a family. That guy has to have his crap so far together, and sexually he has to be so much more powerful than any guy ever had to be in the past. The burden of performance on a man now is so much higher because now you are literally in competition with every notch she's ever had, which is now so much higher than it ever been before. Well, anyway, that's the actual advice. That may sound like really bad news for some of you guys, but I don't see it as bad news. I see it as good news, because if she retained that ability to pair bond, what she's talking about isn't necessarily not having an ability to pair bond, because it doesn't sound like she's desiring additional sexual partners. I don't know. I haven't talked to her. I don't know. Right. But it doesn't sound like she's having trouble being happy in the commitment, though maybe that is the case. It's more of an alpha widowing is what it sounds like. It sounds like having gone through all those partners, it sounds like there may be a handful of those partners out of her 20 notches that were better for her sexually than her current partner. And though she likes her current partner, he's not quite measuring up. And so now she's in this position which women find themselves in all the time. Do I sacrifice my sexual desire and satisfaction needs for all these other great characteristics that this guy has? That's the position they find themselves in. And having a bunch of notches makes that really much more difficult for a girl. But sex is the glue that holds a relationship together. And if the sex is not peak with you and your partner, there is no LTR. There isn't one. No matter what you're compromising, there is no high level love experience. You may have a love for that person. She may have a love for you, but it's not there. You can't do it. You are compromising your long-term happiness. You're better off being single and waiting for that partner that you can build that peak relationship with, rather than giving your commitment away to somebody who can't have that with you. Okay. That's probably good for this video. I just wanted to share that though. And hopefully that makes a lot of sense, but that is from the female perspective. There's a lot of good information there. You can read the Womanies, read what she's saying, but there's a lot of good stuff there to kind of digest. Women will want to deflect, deny, and rationalize all the time, but she is really describing, she is telling the truth. It's rare we find a woman who's experienced what is actually normal now in the sexual marketplace, which is going through a series of notches is very normal, and who has the self-awareness and understanding of herself to really be able to describe that in the way that she did. I think that was very special that she did that, and we can all benefit from that. And you know who can really benefit is most of them won't listen, I realize, but young women who are going to be pressured to be on the carousel and to be promiscuous and to ruin their abilities, they're the ones who can definitely really benefit from hearing her account and what she had to say about it.